The chamber of the Galactic Council was a marvel of alien architecture, a 1,000-meter dome carved from asteroid platinum, its walls studded with bioluminescent organisms that pulsed in colors no human eye had a name for. 47 species sat in tiered galleries that circled a central platform, their forms ranging from crystalline entities that communicated through resonance to gas-clad beings contained in magnetic bottles. It was, by any measure, the most powerful room in the known galaxy. Ambassador Ethan Cross stood at the center of it, alone. He had been standing for 3 hours. No chair had been offered. No water. The atmospheric composition had been calibrated, barely, for human survival, but the temperature hovered 10 degrees below comfortable. These were deliberate choices. Ethan understood that. He had been briefed on Council intimidation protocols before his shuttle even cleared Earth's orbit. He straightened his jacket and waited. High Counselor Kale Veyron descended from the elevated throne at the chamber's apex, his tri-jointed legs carrying him with a fluid grace that made him look like water moving uphill. The Vathari were the oldest member species of the Council, 11,000 years of recorded civilization, 4,000 years of interstellar travel, 2,000 years of galactic governance. Kale Veyron himself was 900 years old, and he moved with the patient certainty of someone who had watched civilizations rise and collapse and had found it neither surprising nor particularly interesting. He stopped 3 meters from Ethan and regarded him with 6 amber eyes arranged in a ring around his skull. "Ambassador Cross," he said, his translator implant rendering his clicks and tonal bursts into flat, perfect English. "Humanity has been evaluated. I look forward to hearing the Council's conclusions," Ethan said. "You have been assessed across 47 indices of civilizational merit. Military coordination. Scientific advancement. Resource management. Diplomatic tradition. Ecological stewardship." Kale Veyron paused. "You have failed 39 of them. We've had a complicated century. You have had a complicated existence." Kale Veyron turned and walked a slow circle around the ambassador, a gesture of dominance that was universal enough to translate across species lines. 300,000 years as a biological species. 299,000 of those years spent in tribal conflict. The last 1,000 years spent burning your own planet and pointing instruments of mass destruction at one another. He stopped in front of Ethan again. "You have been spacefaring for less than 200 years. You have been a unified species for less than 40. "That's accurate," Ethan said. "The Council does not admit chaotic elements. We have rules. Standards. Civilizations that cannot demonstrate a baseline of stability pose a contamination risk to galactic order." Kale Veyron reached into a fold of his ceremonial robe and produced a small crystalline tablet, the Council's verdict, physically manifested in the tradition of elder species law. "The motion passed this morning. 43 votes in favor. 4 abstentions." Ethan looked at the tablet. "What exactly was the motion?" "Quarantine. Permanent exclusion from galactic commerce, communication, and travel corridors. Any human vessel found beyond your solar system's boundary will be impounded and its crew interned indefinitely." Kale Veyron extended the tablet toward him. "You will take this back to your people. You will explain that the door is closed. And you will not return." Ethan did not take the tablet. He looked up at the galleries, 47 species, thousands of individual representatives, watching with the particular quality of attention that powerful beings give to something they consider already resolved. He had spent 14 months traveling to reach this chamber. He had memorized 47 languages, cultural frameworks, historical grievances, and diplomatic traditions. He had prepared 17 different opening arguments, 12 fallback positions, and 4 emergency de-escalation scripts. He hadn't prepared for this. "I need to make a transmission," he said quietly. Kale Veyron tilted his head. "You may send a message to Earth informing them of the Council's decision." "I need to send a specific code," Ethan said. It's a single 4-digit sequence. It will take 30 seconds. There was something in his voice, not fear, not anger, but a kind of weight, the weight of someone who has just moved from one world into another, that made Kale Veyron pause. Transmit your code, Ambassador. Ethan raised his wrist communicator and spoke 4 digits into it. Then he lowered his arm and stood quietly. What was that? Kale Veyron asked. Earth's response protocol, Ethan said. To this outcome. And what does it do? Ethan looked at him steadily. In approximately 11 minutes, every nation on Earth will receive a simultaneous alert. Within the hour, every government will have confirmed receipt and entered a coordinated response posture. Within 6 hours, Earth's orbital manufacturing network, which you catalogued as primitive industrial infrastructure in your assessment, will have shifted to wartime production protocols. Within 30 days, our shipyard output will have increased by a factor of 40. Kale Veyron stared at him. You cannot threaten the Council. I'm not threatening anyone, Ethan said. I'm answering your question. You asked what the code does. I'm telling you. He clasped his hands behind his back. You made 47 assessments of human civilization. You assessed our military coordination as poor. You're correct, historically, we've been terrible at it. But there is one context in which human military coordination has always been extraordinary. He paused. When we're losing. The chamber was very quiet. You have 11,000 years of civilization, Ethan continued. The Vathari reached their current level of development in a stable, resource-rich star system, surrounded by species who were at roughly equivalent technological levels and shared an incentive toward mutual non-destruction. You built your civilization under favorable conditions. He looked around the galleries slowly. Humans built ours in the middle of a war that never ended. We were prey animals before we were apex predators. We spent 300,000 years being hunted, starving, freezing, and trying to outlast things that were bigger, faster, and stronger than us. He looked back at Kale Veyron. We're very, very good at surviving situations where survival seems impossible. It's not a skill we're proud of. It's just one we have. You are one planet, Kale Veyron said. The Council commands the resources of 47 systems. Yes, Ethan agreed. And we have been a unified civilization for 38 years. In that time, we have colonized 4 moons, established 17 orbital stations, and developed 3 independent faster-than-light propulsion designs, 2 of which your intelligence services haven't detected yet. He let that land for a moment. We are not what your assessment says we are. Your assessment measured where we started. It didn't measure how fast we move. Something shifted in the chamber. It was subtle, a change in posture among the gallery representatives, a new quality to the silence. Kale Veyron had governed for 4 centuries. He recognized the shift. It was the moment when a situation stopped being resolved and became a question again. What do you want, Ambassador Cross? He asked. What I came here for, Ethan said. A seat at the table. Trade access. Communication rights. The same things every other species received when they reached this stage of development. He tilted his head slightly. Or, if the Council's position is that we don't qualify, I go home, I report that the door is closed, and in 50 years, when our shipyard output is what it's going to be, we open our own door. You are proposing a threat disguised as a choice. I'm proposing a choice. The threat already exists. It exists because you made a decision before I finished speaking. Ethan stepped forward, 1 step, precise and deliberate. High Counselor. I came here to join the galactic community. I am asking you, one final time, to let us. He paused. But understand something clearly. We were never going to accept being locked out. Not permanently. The code I sent doesn't activate a weapon. It activates a mindset. And that mindset, that specifically human mindset of the door is closed, so we'll build a bigger door, is the one thing your 47 indices did not account for. Kale Veyron was silent for a long moment. 900 years of reading civilizations, of watching species burn bright and collapse, of sorting the sustainable from the catastrophic. He looked at Ambassador Ethan Cross, this creature from a young, violent, impossible planet, and he performed a calculation. He reached out and took the crystalline tablet back. "The Council will reconvene," he said quietly, "to review the terms of provisional membership." Ethan Cross nodded once. "Thank you, High Counselor." He did not smile. He did not need to. Behind him, in the galleries, 47 species sat in silence, performing their own calculations, all of them arriving, more or less simultaneously, at the same unsettling conclusion. Humanity had just walked into the most powerful room in the galaxy alone, unarmed, and outnumbered 1,000 to 1. And somehow, they had not blinked. Some species spent millennia learning how to win. Humans spent millennia learning how not to lose. The difference, it turned out, was everything.